You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
You know, if you feel like you need a dedicated operational dashboard just to track the major tech breakthroughs happening this week, you are absolutely right.
Oh, totally.
The pace of change has just stopped being incremental. It feels like we're watching a complete rewrite of everything. Digital, physical, all of it.
It's true. And for you, just staying ahead isn't about reading headlines anymore. It's about connecting the dots.
Yes.
You have to see the lines between, AI agent protocols and these massive orbital manufacturing plants, and then even deep into human biology. You need to see the pattern.
Exactly. And that's our mission today. We're going to give you that context. We've got a huge stack of fascinating material here, from AI models to hardware shifts and even longevity science.
And what's really clear is that AI is moving past being just a concept. It's becoming a new foundational primitive.
Not primitive. I like that.
Yeah, we're not just building better software. We're building systems that learn, that anticipate, and act. And that requires rewriting all the rules, which is why we're seeing these huge shifts in computing and energy today.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start right where the intelligence is being made. The AI models. We've got two huge announcements that really define what's next.
Yes, on the model front, Google announced Gemini 3. And the thing everyone needs to pay attention to is its ability to grasp depth and nuance.
Okay, nuance. So not just spitting out coherent text.
Exactly. It's about figuring out the real context, the intent behind these really complex multi-step requests. They're aiming for a model that can genuinely grasp an abstract idea and, run with it.
And there was a fascinating detail in the notes for developers.
Mm-hmm.
Gemini 3 uses dynamic thinking by default, so it thinks in multiple steps. But if you need speed, you can actually constrain its thinking level to low for faster responses.
Yeah.
It's like throttling its brain power.
Precisely. It gives you control over that trade-off. Now, you contrast that deep reasoning engine with what OpenAI just dropped.
GPT 5.1 Codex Max.
Right. And this is their new, highly specialized agentic coding model. Its purpose is pure execution, long-running, detailed work. It's faster, more intelligent, and, this is keyway, more token efficient.
Token efficient. Let's pause on that. For anyone listening, why does that really matter right now compared to just using a general model?
Because the cost of failure in a dev cycle is huge. When you have an agent that loops or that takes tons of steps to, say, refactor a huge code base, every single one of those steps, every token, costs money.
Got it.
GPT 5.1 Codex Max is designed to do the job in the fewest possible steps. That just slashes the operating cost and speeds everything up for companies.
And that immediately explains what Google did next. They launched a new creative tool on Gemini 3 Pro called Nano Banana Pro.
Correct. It takes that nuanced understanding from Gemini 3 and applies it to structured visual output.
So things that have to be consistent.
Exactly, like blending images for a brand, making high-quality infographics, or building an entire slide deck that actually makes sense visually and logically. The model isn't just generating, it's organizing.
So if these powerful models are the engine, how do we write the instruction manual? This is where the whole agents.md file concept comes in.
Yeah, and we've seen so many agent files fail because they're just too vague. They basically say, go be helpful.
Which is a recipe for disaster.
An expensive, unreliable disaster. The ones that work, the ones we're seeing succeed, are extremely explicit.
So it's less of a suggestion and more of a command structure.
It is. We basically distilled it down to 4 things. First,
Yeah.
the agent needs a crystal clear job. Is it a copy editor or code reviewer?
Right.
Second, it needs the exact commands to run. Not suggestions, but steps. Third, you need well-defined boundaries. Systems it must not touch.
And the other fourth characteristic.
Clear examples of good output. You want to report in a certain tone, give the agent 3 perfect examples.
Yeah.
It'll prioritize matching that style over just being generically helpful.
That's the software side. But let's look at the corporate investment driving the physical world. Jeff Bezos is back, an official operational role for the first time since 2021 with his new company, Project Prometheus.
This is a huge signal. Project Prometheus is starting with $6.2 billion in funding, and it's focused on AI for engineering and manufacturing.
So not chatbots.
Not chatbots at all. This is about creating systems that learn from the physical world. Robotics, factories, supply chains. The line between digital AI and the physical world is just dissolving.
And at the same time, we saw this staggering investment into Anthropic. They're now valued around, $350 billion after deals with Microsoft and Nvidia.
The valuation is one thing, but the commitment to infrastructure is the real story. Get this. Anthropic committed to buying $30 billion of Azure compute,
30 billion.
and they contracted for up to 1 gigawatt of NVIDIA compute capacity on top of that.
Wow. I have to ask, is that smart or is that a liability? I mean, are they locking themselves into one architecture for years to come?
It is high-stakes poker, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's what you have to do to guarantee you have the power to train the next big models. But you're right, it's a huge bet on NVIDIA and Microsoft's roadmaps. It just shows that the bottleneck now isn't the algorithm, it's access to power and silicon.
Speaking of seamless access, this next one is really interesting for your daily life. The friction between Android and Apple sharing files, it's finally easing up.
It was so frustrating for so long. This is a massive win for interoperability. Android's Quick Share now works directly with Apple's AirDrop.
So Apple devices will just show up in the share menu on Android and vice versa.
Exactly. Seamless, two-way sharing.
And what's the most important technical detail for the average person here?
The connection is direct. It's peer-to-peer. Your data isn't going through some server. It's not being logged anywhere.
Ah, so it has the same privacy and security as AirDrop always did?
Yep. Just across the ecosystems now. It's starting on the new Pixel 10 and then rolling out from there.
That's a huge consumer win. And speaking of Apple, they are building their own hardware infrastructure too. They're testing their new N1 Wi-Fi chip, their first one that's completely in-house.
This is a big strategic move to rely less on companies like Broadcom. The N1 supports Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and the Thread protocol for smart homes.
And by controlling the chip design.
They get higher speeds, sure, but more importantly, they get control. They future-proof their own product roadmap.
While companies are building their hardware, the infrastructure providers are changing how they bill for it. We saw a really interesting change from AWS.
AWS is basically responding to the need for predictable spending, especially from companies running those massive AI workloads we just talked about.
Right.
So they're introducing flat rate pricing plans. You get global content delivery, a bunch of services, all for a single monthly price with no overage charges.
That is a huge relief for every CFO out there. The variability of cloud billing can be terrifying, especially when a training job just spikes your demand out of nowhere.
Absolutely. It removes that paralyzing fear of the cloud bill surprise.
Okay, let's connect all this capital and compute to the physical world. Let's look up Blue Origin. They're making a major strategic shift.
They're not just a space exploration company anymore. They are now formally calling themselves a manufacturing company.
A manufacturing company? Why? What's the practical implication of that?
Because if you want to industrialize space, you need mass production. You need boosters and engines built at scale, not custom one-offs. Their mission has grown. Mars is officially on the radar for them now.
Okay.
Their new Glenn booster roadmap has upgrades starting around the first half of 2026, designed for super heavy lift, a faster launch cadence. They're positioning themselves to be the industrial backbone for whatever comes next in orbit.
That shift from a service to industrial manufacturing is profound. And shifting from space back to Earth, the push for perpetual power has never been more urgent, especially for all that hungry AI infrastructure.
And this is where we saw two massive nuclear breakthroughs. Two very different but equally important paths forward.
Okay, lay out the first one.
First, in China, an experimental reactor achieved thorium to uranium fuel conversion in a molten salt system.
Why is that a big deal?
Thorium is way more abundant than uranium, and this reactor needs no water for cooling. Plus, it generates far less radioactive waste. It brings us a lot closer to a safe, almost endless nuclear energy supply that you can build anywhere, not just next to a river.
An endless, cleaner energy source. Okay, now what about the second breakthrough? Valar Atomics.
So Valar Atomics achieved what's called zero power criticality.
Right.
It's the fundamental milestone you have to hit before you can get to sustained power generation. It's a huge step toward commercial scale, factory-built nuclear reactors.
So if the Chinese breakthrough is about the fuel and the safety, Valar is about the delivery and the scale.
Exactly. These reactors are designed to be standardized units you build in a factory. Their whole purpose is to power heavy industry, hydrogen production, and those power-hungry AI data centers. Nuclear power could soon be delivered like a piece of industrial equipment.
So we've got AI demanding massive compute and new power solutions arriving to meet it. What does this all mean for our careers?
The data is pretty clear. AI is hitting the entry-level job market hard. A recent survey showed 2/3 of organizations expect to slow down entry-level hiring because AI is just automating routine tasks.
That's a serious shift. If routine work is being automated, how do we future-proof our careers?
The required skills are shifting from execution to synthesis. Employers are prioritizing communication, critical thinking, and the technical ability to leverage the AI, not compete with it. A university degree is starting to lose its monopoly.
Right, because proving you can do the work is more valuable than the credential.
And you see companies building this into their culture. Meta, for example, is now tying employee performance to AI-driven impact. Starting next year, they'll actually assess how employees use AI to get results.
So it's not, did you do the task? It's, did you use the tools to get a better result faster?
That's the new game, is how they're evolving to stay ahead, especially after the recent antitrust win gave them a bit more room to maneuver.
And on the policy side, it feels like there's a slight pause on regulation.
Yeah, the EU seems to be rethinking its aggressive tech crackdown. They're talking about a digital package of simplification, which includes delaying parts of a law that would restrict certain uses of AI.
A recognition that you can't stifle this kind of growth.
Seems that way.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the most complex system of all, the human body. The frontier of medicine is shifting from just fighting sickness to pursuing more life, more time.
And the tech we're looking at here is cryopreservation. It uses specialized freezers and cryoprotectants, think of them like biological antifreeze, to bring tissue into a glassy state.
So it pauses biological time.
Effectively, yes. It sounds like science fiction, but it's used today in IVF and for stem cell transplants. The long-term, very ambitious goal is whole-body medical hibernation. We're a long way from that, though.
And then there's longevity science itself, which is moving past just treating diseases to fixing the actual biological hallmarks of aging. For someone listening, what are these hallmarks they're trying to fix?
Think of the body as a machine that's constantly degrading. They're targeting things like genomic instability, all the DNA damage that builds up.
Okay.
They're also looking at telomere shortening. If your DNA is a shoelace, telomeres are the little plastic tips. When they fray, the whole thing comes undone.
That is a great analogy.
Then you have things like mitochondrial dysfunction, your cell's battery running down, and cellular senescence. That's where cells stop dividing, but don't die. They just hang around as zombie cells, causing inflammation. Longevity science is designing interventions to fix these root causes. It's treating aging itself as a condition.
So this is about radically extending health span, using AI to map these pathways, connecting digital to physical and now to biological. It's a remarkable moment.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the tiny details of an ancient file to orbital manufacturing, new energy, and even extending human health. And they're all linked by technology just getting better at making itself more useful.
It's the definition of a foundational shift. And, as we continue our explorations here on The Vocal Technologist, we also read that the best products are designed for anticipation. They stitch memory and intuition together into something that feels like a partnership.
Cognitive effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Mastering that balance is what makes a product feel both totally reliable and almost alive. Like it knows what you need before you do.
So if the future belongs to companies that already know what customers need, and AI is turning a whole class of technical problems into simple economics, here's something to mull over. Which of the ideas we discussed today, from planetary internet protocols to longevity science, will be the first to truly master that balance? That feeling of being utterly reliable and yet somehow alive. What does that partnership feel like to the average person using it every day? Keep exploring those questions. We'll be here next time to continue the learning.
Spoken Tech for your ears.